Welcome to the Real Build podcast. I'm Tommy, and I'm here with two guys you're going to hear from a lot, Devin and Tyler. We're three friends navigating life, work, change, and everything in between.
This show is about being real life, real pivots, real rebuilds. We've all taken different paths, and this podcast is a place where we talk about the process, the struggles, and the moments where things shift.
This podcast is about breaking routines, testing ideas, and living stories worth telling. We're not experts. We're just three guys figuring things out, and we're inviting you to figure it out with us.
We're recording.
I thought you had muted me while we were recording.
I should have.
All right. Well, we got some special people here with us, Brittany and Fatu.
Hello.
Moala.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for having us. We just got in from South.
That's crazy. Well, we brought them on here because they got a wild story, and I think we all know each other already, but let's give them a little brief about, what you're doing and why you're doing it. We'll start with Britt.
Yeah. Well, thank you first for helping us tell our story. I think so. Why we're here is we have our daughter, Revi, that you've helped us with many times, and our whole lives have completely changed, and we've pretty much lost everything in pursuit of saving our daughter, which I think any parent would do. But beyond that it's not our daughter's diagnosis that's been hard. It's the system that's been hard. And I don't think a lot of people have the opportunity to speak up about it because it's so consuming. And like we said, we've lost everything, but we are so lucky to have the community that we have. And it feels like this has to be spoken. It has to be said. And we're doing this for Revi and all the kids like Revi out there who deserve for their story to be told.
When you're obviously you've been advocating, right? And I would assume tapping into a community that's assuming this is soft-spoken, right? That are just taking, doctors and surgeons' word for it. How many other people are out there, like in a similar situation?
Yeah, I think that's hard because Rev introduced us to a world that we didn't even know existed. So I think a lot of people don't understand to the fullest of what's going on. And I think that's where the system is kind of failed Rev is you have typical kids and then you have kids like Rev that fall outside of that protocol box. And I think that that's where we have that, where things are getting lost is because they're treating her like a typical or protocol kid. And so to answer your question is throughout this journey, we've had so much people reach out of, hey, we're going through the same thing. And at first we think okay, this is just us, or we've been treated almost like this is our first kid. And so to have these parents reach out and say hey, this is the same thing, and they get very vulnerable and they tell their story, it's this is happening more often than what people know. It's sad.
And it's so Instagram, right, is where we've shared our story. And like Fatu's saying is there's so many people that reach out. The videos that I share that talk about medical malpractice, gaslighting, failure, millions of views, and so many people reaching out, just saying us too. But the hard part is it's such a power dynamic, with your kid, right? You would do anything for your kid, and your kid is sick and you need help, and you're in the hospital and these people can help you. And you feel like you're stuck in this position of if something doesn't feel right, do you speak up and risk maybe that hurting your kid? Do you stay quiet and risk that hurting your kid? Because we've had both. Our daughter lost an eye and we did speak up. And I think speaking up did hurt us too. But one thing that I've learned is you don't stop speaking up. It's when you speak up, they don't like what you say. They shush you. They make you feel dumb. And then they make you feel scared because it does affect your kid's care and you stop. And what me and Fatu have had the privilege and it's sucked. It's sucked that we've lived in the system, but we've got to learn how to speak up for Revi. And it's worse when we don't.
How intimidating is it to dude, just me, right? Growing up with, people in charge of you or whatever, you just, okay, like my dad, right? All right, I better just listen to what this man says because he knows. And as I grow up, I'm like, this dude doesn't know half the shit he's told me he knew, bro. But I feel like it's the same even in in this world, but it's got to be so intimidating because there's actual life here, you know?
It is so intimidating. Like, and it's been constant with Revi, like right when we had her. I'm like, something's wrong with my kid. You know, what? This is different. And just being able to like verbalize that took so much courage to fast forward now where I am today. I even just had to say something to Fatu driving up here. I was like, isn't this crazy? This is real. Like, this really happened to us. Like, almost have to constantly convince myself because you're in a world where they make you feel small. Like, they gaslight you constantly. You almost don't believe yourself unless you are constantly reminded of it. And I think with Revi, the unfortunate validation is like we have a physical reminder every time I see her face that she's missing her eye. And for me, that's like, oh, yeah, that's why I have to be fierce. That's why, because I knew. And I said, I can't even count how many times we said, like something was wrong with her eye. How we were crying, we were begging. She was crying and just being dismissed. And so it's crazy how quickly you feel small when you know your kid better than anyone else, but they tell you you're wrong, you know?
Yeah. So is it like, for me, even like, I mean, not experiencing nearly anything like this, but even like my wife going to the dentist's office, right? She's like, my son doesn't do well on gas. And they're like, yeah, he does. I'm like,
You're
I'm
over
gonna
here like,
slit your throat, bitch. Like,
That's the attitude you need.
yeah, and it pisses me off, but my wife will be like, okay, and then he just barfs all over the place because he doesn't do well. And I'm like, dude, and it, and then it eats at my wife, right? Because she knew better, and listen to the kid, your kid well. So now, like, I guess where do you pull that strength? Like, I don't know. That's crazy.
and I think that, like for me, it's like we don't look like we belong in the medical world. It's almost like if we pulled up to the country club, like, who are these guys? And so now we're going into the country club telling them, hey, this is what's going on, this. And they're like, they're in their club with all of their people. And like, who are you to tell me how to do my job? Because I like to think of it as like I'm a trainer. And if an athlete came up to me and was like, hey, we need to do this, this, and this, I'm like, who are you? Like who? Like you don't know what you're doing. This is my realm. This is where I'm at. And so I think the biggest thing with that is we're not telling them, hey, do this, this, and this. We're saying, hey, look at this. If we're players now that are in the game and the coach is telling us to run a play, and if me and Brittany are like, hey, we're in the game, this is not working, like we have to switch it up. It's like that coach is telling us like, you don't know. Like, because in reality, even though they're the ones that are hands-on making these calls, we're the ones that have to live with every single outcome. We're the ones that bring home Rev to say like, is this plan working or not? We're the ones that have to stay up all night. And I think that that's what's hard with the experiences that we've had is they're not even taking into consideration that like what you guys say is affecting us as a family. And so they won't consider that. So yeah, it's very intimidating when you step into a place that you feel like you don't belong with these people who have all this knowledge and they're telling you that you're wrong.
So, like, for me, I don't know this question. Maybe you've answered this before, but as this goes on, like, what is the future for Rev?
Right. And so I think with medically complex kids, you're already at a disadvantage because they already assume your child has no quality of life. And so it's not like me taking Ella, my 12-year-old in. They're like, we gotta get her back to basketball, back to playing, talking. They see Rev and they're like, well,
She's not dead.
yeah, like,
Dang.
but the sad part is of what I've seen, what I've come to believe is people will tell you what to expect out of your kid, and they're the expert, and you want to listen, you want to trust these people, but they don't know your kid, and they don't even know, especially when you have a one-of-one, they don't even know what they're talking about. But then you know your kid, you know the quality of life. Like Rev, she's crazy, and she's so fun, and she loves to swim, and she has a personality. And I want to preserve those pieces of her. So right now with this brain surgery, it's like, I want to preserve Revi. I'm fighting for Revi so Revi can be Revi for as long as she can. So when you're asking, what does the future look like? It's going to be dictated by what these doctors believe she's capable of. And from what I've seen is not a lot. Because we believe in Revi, because we know Revi, they need someone to speak up. These kids have no one fighting for them. And when I speak up for her, like, hey, I want to preserve her. I don't want to trach my daughter because which a trach is like they're putting a tube in her throat so she can breathe. But Revi can breathe just fine on her own. She's not on oxygen or anything. But they want to put this in her because it's safer for them. And beyond that, our story is much deeper than that. Like if anyone's seen the videos of us basically saving Revi's life on our living room floor, they didn't help us for 7 months and us begging them, please help us. We're scared to take our child home. Can we do something? We're losing pieces of our daughter. But when they sent us home with a bag, so essentially you're doing rescue breaths for your kid multiple times a day, every other day, but it's with a bag. It's good enough for them at that moment because the responsibility is on us. If she died on our living room floor of the disease, that's what happens to kids like Revi. But what happened now is we've been fighting this battle and we're trying to preserve Revi, like you're saying, this future for Revi. We're fighting for it. 7 months. We've saved her life so many times because there's hope for her if someone sees it. And they gave us this like IV that you put in. And so we can give her a rescue med that pulls her out quickly. And we got a doctor to believe and see it. Everything changed. Everything switched. Now, this immediate surgery, we have to put a tube in her throat. She's not safe. We have to do it. It's like, well, if that's true, if she's not safe right now today, she wasn't safe for 7 months. So what changed? You neglected her for 7 months? Or the responsibility is now clinically on you because you put a tube in my daughter and you gave us rescue meds. So now if she goes home and dies, that falls back on you. And that's why they want to put in this thing in her throat because it's safer, it's less liability. The responsibility shifts back on us. And this is like, and it's probably hard to like comprehend maybe, but essentially what's happening in these medical world is no one's fighting for these kids the way they should be. Like Revi would be dead if me and Fatu could not give our kid rescue breaths every other day, stay up all night long, have our 12-year-old who knows what to do. Revi should be dead. She shouldn't be because someone could have intervened a long time ago. Brain surgery is an option to her. It's been an option to her this whole time. But the only reason that they're willing to do it now or escalate quicker is because they've now shifted the responsibility back onto them. And if she dies, they have to answer for it. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
So can we back up like 5 years?
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, like we know around this group about Revi, but tell us about Revi and like her diagnosis, like who she is. I know that like, I see their stories, I see everything like that, and we see that on Instagram. But who is Revi and what has she been diagnosed with? Like what is she up against?
Yeah, so Rev it's called Q syndrome. There's other kids that have it, but it manifests differently depending on where like the break is in the chromosome. And so if someone has a break at the very beginning, it's Q syndrome, but where Revi's is, it's at the very end. So they're in the same group, but they're so different, And so medical like literature, she's one of one. So no one can actually say any prognosis for Revi. It has epilepsy and refractory epilepsy, which means no medications work for Revi. They try, and maybe there's a magic one out there, but we don't know what it is, And then she also has like cerebral palsy. She's developmentally delayed, nonverbal. And when I first had Rev and some of these diagnoses that we would hear, they seem scary at first. But it's crazy. You know your kid, you can feel their energy and feel what they want. And so despite all of these diagnoses, like Revi, we took her to a water park and it was like, she was like, she had so much fun, just like our other kids. She was hugging us, holding us, like laughing. And so she is up against the complete unknown. We don't know. But one thing that me and Fatu decided like really early on was we realized that surviving is very different than living. And we want our child to live. If that meant 2 years, but she got to live, we would be happy. And if that meant 10, So a lot of these things that they want to do in the medical world is survive. Like as long as they're surviving, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, so she was born here, in Idaho. What, 3 years ago? So she'll turn 3 in August, and so she was born here. And I think like right when she was born, they didn't even show Rev to Brittany. They just took her and they walked off to the scale. And Brittany said right there, she's like, "What's wrong with my baby?" And me, I'm like a typical dad. I'm like, she's small, yeah, but everything's cool. But Brittany felt something like in her heart that something was different. And when she asked that too, like I was standing behind the bed and I seen the two nurses that were holding her at the scale, and they both like looked up at each other. And again, for me, she was just, I thought she was like premature, like small. Like she definitely could have stayed in a little bit longer. And so when they looked at themselves, though, I'm like, that was weird. Almost like they kind of knew too. And they were like reassuring Brady, like, no, everything's good. 4 pounds. We were like feeding her through a syringe, and we didn't even go into the NICU. They sent us home like the next day. Like everything checks out. Like you guys are good to go.
Dang.
And so we're at home now, like with this baby that's not sleeping. She's so hard. And we have 2 other girls. Like we know what like a colicky hard baby is, and this one is different. For what, like 2 months, not sleeping, and we're like, damn, this is not normal. And so we go back and we talk to the doctors, and they're like, no, everything is cool, like everything's good. Almost like it's like, hey, you're overreacting. And so
Well, they told me, which I actually wanted to be told this because you don't want anything wrong with your kid. They were like, you're just having postpartum depression. You need therapy. You need medication. And they even like compared me to other moms. They're like, there's a mom in the other room that actually has something wrong with their kid. Like they would do anything to have your baby. So you feel bad. You feel like, oh my gosh, like, am I just being that paranoid, crazy parent? But you're not. And that's what they continue to do in the medical world. And I thought when we would get the diagnosis finally, we've always had to fight for everything. We fought for this diagnosis. I was like, things will be better. They'll believe us. She's one of one. They're going to help us. It's even worse because now we're fighting a different battle. We're fighting that she even deserves to live. She deserves people to try and do things and help her. And so it's such a lose-lose for these parents. Like these parents can't even fight for their child. The system is built against these kids honestly surviving because right now it's like we've talked to so many parents that their kid has passed away, and it wasn't because of their diagnosis. It was because delay in care, dismissal. But the medical world can be like, they're complex, sorry, and no one questions. You can't. You know, it's true. They are complex, but that is not why they passed away. They passed away because you didn't intervene. Revi dying on our living room floor would not have been because she had epilepsy. It's because no one did anything to help her. That is why she would have died.
So
Sorry.
no.
No.
I see on your posts, right? You're always saying like these doctors have just a clock in, clock out job, and you guys don't. Like my honest question here, and I think I even asked it in a video I shared and like made, was, are these people getting into this field? Like, do you feel like from your heart, right? These people are getting in this field hoping they can help, hoping they can make change. They go through 14 years of school, whatever it is, get a bunch of debt, make a lot of money, but now they're stuck. Like, and they like, are these like, do they not like their job anymore? Like, what are you experiencing? Are these people just sad? Like, I don't know, man.
And I think that there's a lot of different reasons, but I think that it's like I think that they get in with the right intention to help, to make a difference. But I think when you see it so much that it starts to become normal. And so it's almost like Rev is the person that requires extra work, extra time, extra effort, and you will not get paid any extra for that. So I talk about this too in like some of the posts that I have is if your heart's not in it, and then you get a Rev where you look at the charts and it's like, damn, she's like lucky to be alive. Now any extra work that I give to this person, and let's say she does pass away, it's like, why are you using resources on this person that is like on the trajectory of we should use these for other people? It's almost like a numbers game is when, because so my niece passed away at 12 at Primary Children's Hospital, and she's a typical kid. She fits in the box, and my sister has nothing bad to say about them. They love her team, and I think that it's like when you step outside of the typical box, it's like it's a whole different ball game of, again, like what Brittany said, it's not that they don't have the resources to, it's like the inaction. And so when a different player comes into the game and you like don't know what to do with it, it's really hard to help them when you don't know and your play sheet is only for this type of player.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's rough.
Do you feel like doctors or medical professionals, from nurses up to doctors to admin, whatever, do you feel like they almost treat this as a 9 to 5? Like as soon as they step foot out of that door, it's like, I don't know Rev anymore. And it's kind of like left it in the rear view. Part of it, like, I understand leaving stress at home or at work rather than bringing it with you, because I was in law enforcement. And so you want to leave it behind, right? But do you feel like these doctors are kind of like, man, if I can just punch that clock, I can be out of here and I can't worry about Rev anymore. Mom and dad have got that, or the next shift has got that, or whatever. Like, I can just leave this behind and it's going to be okay.
And I've seen that before, not so much with the nurses. They're like the best.
Yeah, I've always thought nurses are ballers.
And I think a big part of that is they're the ones in there helping Rev. They see Rev as a person. They get to see her personality and they form that relationship. And so what they are, it's like it's the exact opposite now. It's like they know Rev personally. So like, I'm going to do everything that I can to take care of her. Whereas the people who are the highest up that actually have the say in her care, they don't even come in our room. They don't see Rev. All they do is they just read charts. And again, it's like, it's whatever that says. So now it's not a person, it's a number. It's a client. And so I think that's like the hardest thing is the people that are highest up are the least personal. And I think that in the medical world, it should be the furthest thing from the 9 to 5. And maybe like what their thing is if I am emotionally involved, it might cause me to make the wrong decision, when I think that's like furthest from the truth, actually. When you know someone personally, if I know you right now, Tommy, it's like, I'm going to do everything I can to take care of you. If I can go out of my way to help you because I know you personally, I will do that. And I don't feel that in the medical field at the highest level.
And I think for me, they don't like a mom who tells them what to do, and not in the sense of like they walk in my room and like, this is what you're doing, but it's like if they do say something that I don't think is true, I'm going to say, like Devin, you're talking about the gas with your kid, right? Now I wasn't this way. And I go to bed at night, not mad at the doctors, mad at myself. And so now I speak up because I'm like, I can't carry any more of that weight. Like Revy deserves better. She deserves me to speak up. And they don't like that. That's at least in my experience. When it's me alone in the room and they come in, they will say things to me that they would never say when Fatu is there.
It's different. It's sad to say because we've had some pretty hard experiences with both male and female doctors, but almost every one of the female doctors have come back to Brittany and have apologized and shared their concerns and like how proud they are of her. And that's usually not the case with the male doctors. And it's like when Brittany tells me these stories of these doctors, I'm like, I can't wait to see him. And then when we go and have the meeting, I'm like, this guy's nice. Like he's good. It's very professional and it's very like by the book, like nothing too crazy, but it's a very different person. And that's what's hard is if you're not good with yourself and then you have a mom come in and give questions about what it is that you're doing, I think that you take it personally of like, this is an attack on my character. And so now it's not the intention is not towards what does Rev need. It's like, I need to prove to her that I'm right, that I know what I'm talking about. It's like, how dare you come into my space and tell me that I'm wrong or that what I'm doing is not good. When in reality, it's like, if we're in the game and we're like, hey, here's the cheat sheet to win this game. This is what we see. Why wouldn't you take that to come and help? And I think that's been hard for Brittany is she's the smartest one in the room. And she's the one that's like, that gets the least respect. Like, I don't know much and they respect me more, which is so crazy. Yeah. It's sad to see, but it's very.
Because you're Polynesian, dude.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. They're like, who's this skinny Mexican that got the tribal?
Who's this hot Mexican?
Actually,
yeah, I'm sure
I'm like, I hope our neurosurgeon's gay, Fatu. Like, please, like, use your magic.
You out
like,
there.
do something.
Up your
Literally, like, help us out.
That's probably why we're getting the care that we are.
That makes sense. Now it makes sense.
It's clicking.
Yeah.
Bro, if I see you out on the street corner, I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to smile and wave, tell you good job, keep at it.
Maybe pick them up, help us out.
Yeah.
Anything for the family.
That's right.
No, It's been like Fatu's been disrespected before too, for sure. It's
Why'd you laugh?
because I'm just thinking about how like we didn't know what to do back then. We were just like, well,
We're very different people. It's like it's been a hard road, and we've lost a lot of like who we are to get to where we are, and that's usually how it is. It's like the things that are the hardest in your life shape you to who you're supposed to be. It sucks that it's been like at the expense of your daughter. Like the way that we speak up, how we talk to these people, because like what I think when I'm stepping in there, like this is their space. But what I try to think when I step in there, because I am scared, like when I step in with these doctors, but like what I like to think is like, if we step outside of this hospital though, you are nothing to me. You're not someone that I look up to. And so it doesn't matter about the white coat. It's more so like how you carry yourself. And so just the fact that we're in your house should not change any of that. And so I don't go in there and I'm like very disrespectful to these doctors, but it gives me like the courage to say like I don't, it's almost like you have to earn my trust instead of I went to 13 years of college and I've been in this profession for 15. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing to show me that you're all about my kid? So it's definitely, it's been a long 3 years.
Do these guys like carry a God complex?
yes. Like not and that's the thing. We've had such great experiences with doctors too. Like I always feel like I'm like the I hate doctors lady, and I do hate a lot of doctors. But like there's been some amazing doctors who have literally saved Revi's life, who have changed my life. But there's a lot that have a God complex, and I now who I am love putting them in their place because I have never been wrong about my daughter. And I used to be afraid to say that. I used to feel scared to say that and like, oh, what if I'm wrong though? It's like, but I've never been. And that's because I'm her mother. Your wife knows your son. Like we all know our kids. And I wish that more moms in the hospital knew that because they would speak up. They would say what these kids need to say because the moms are the ones, the dads are the ones going home at night mad at themselves because their kid lost their eye or their kid died. And it's not the parent's fault or job. It shouldn't be our job. But like our daughter, just barely, they want to put that tube in her throat because they said, oh, her breathing tube is very small. It's so tiny. Like this is why we have to do it. And I was like, are you talking about when she was 2 months old and 4 pounds? Like I remembered the size of the breathing tube because it was so small. And they're like, no, this is last year. I'm like, no, that wasn't. That was when she was literally 4 pounds. That would make sense. The tube is that small. They go, look, it's when she was 4 pounds. They're going to put a breathing tube and change my daughter's life. She can't swim anymore. She can't talk anymore because of information when she was 2 months old. But why do I have to know that? Why do I have to constantly be on the alert? Why do I have to study all night, all day? Which we do. We would do that. But it's like these decisions are being made and I'm being made to feel dumb for saying that. And maybe one time in my life, I would have been like, oh, I think that's when she was 2 months. And they'd been like, no, it's not. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Like if it was me in that room because I was there with her, I'd have been like, damn, maybe it was a 2.5. Like it's a very honest mistake. And that's what's hard is when a parent steps into like the hospital, they should feel relief.
Right.
Like, damn, these guys got me. They're the professionals. They're going to take care of my daughter, my kid. And I don't think that that's been like the case for us for a really long time. And so I think like how Brittany's saying, like, why should we have to be these experts? But I would advise parents to be your expert for your kid. Like that is the thing that has saved us. And I seen like in a funny podcast where they're like, you should make women detectives because if it's personal, they'll find out. They have everything, and it's true. Like that's who Brittany is. That's why she's so good is because it is personal, and she's never been like this. I never thought of Brittany as like, damn, she's so smart, or and she not in that sense of she
That's
was
why
never
I know how to
dumb.
fight God complex.
Yeah.
But it was never her identity of like, I'm going to be here. And so to see the person that she's evolved into has been really cool. It's really special to be a part of. But I think a big part of it is it's like, it is special. That is her kid. And I think that she would allow these people maybe to talk to her in a certain way if it was just her. But I think if it's like something so much bigger, like outside of yourself, it's like, there's no way. Like you bring out a courage that I'm not sure a lot of people understand how to access. unless it like when it comes to a mom and her kid, like she'll tap into it. And it's been pretty cool to see. So like when the doctors are like saying stuff, I'm like, you're dumb. Like just wait. Like you shouldn't have said that. She's gonna get, and I know too. I'm like, she's gonna get you. And it always happens like that because it is so like it's so special to her. So it's so personal to her. And I think a lot of these doctors, they like their rebuttal is off of emotion. It's like the only like so they'll say almost anything to win the battle. It's like it doesn't work in your favor because she knows everything. So it's been pretty crazy to see that it's like if it was just me, any other parent that doesn't have like that courage or like the community to help support is it's crazy to see like what might happen. Like who knows where Rev would be if Brittany didn't have the voice that she does. It's crazy. It's scary to think.
So I've got a good one for both of you. Was there ever a point, because obviously you guys have been fighting like the whole time she's been alive. Is there a monumental point where you finally got courage and then after you were like, this feels good, now I can do this? You know what I'm saying? Because I know that it's been just such a long road, but I'm just curious if there was finally a point where you guys were like, enough. So I know you lived in Rigby, you had to get rid of everything, right? So like there's a bunch, but is there a point where you were finally like, okay, and then you did it, and then afterwards, you know, kind of like when Devin left his job, where it was like, this is what I need to do. This is what I know I need to do now.
For me, it took a long time. And I think that's why now I am like, I've never been wrong. I will stand up to anyone. And it's not out of like ego, it's out of great responsibility. And it's out of a lot of suffering that I've had to go through. And it was when, so like Revi's eye, something was wrong with Revi's eye for so long. And I had tried so many times. I got MRIs, I got like, they would look. But during that whole time too, she was so sick. And that's not Revi. And everyone tried to say, like, this is the progression of the disease. This happens to kids like this. And I'm like, no, something shifted, you know? But for about 7 months, I was quieted. And I went back to the hospital with Fatu. And we were like broken. And pretty much our whole life looked like bouncing on a ball and just trying to keep our kid a little happy. And if she slept, like, then at least she was out of pain. And that was it. And we went in and we got this doctor that we've had in the past, and he was super dismissive, but we're vulnerable. We need help, you know? And he dismissed us, told us she had pink eye, told us to go home. And we were like, this is not pink eye. Something's wrong with our kid. She has a genetic disorder that causes her eyes, like blindness. Help us. And we pretty much had to like get really rude, like forceful and be like, we need to do an exam and she needs to be sedated. He refused to sedate her. And we had to hold our own kid down while she was in so much pain. And they were like, how do you even know she's in pain? We know. Why he pried her eyes open, did the ultrasound that we were like fighting for. And then Fatu had to pull her away because she was in so much pain. And he's like, look, nothing's wrong. Told you, basically. And you feel so dumb. You feel so small. And we had asked the other doctor if we could get a different doctor in there, like another doctor that came in. And he was like, it doesn't look good to like request a different doctor. He's like, honestly, I think it's just done. Today's done.
Who gives a shit?
Right. But like, I don't know how to like convey, like you have a different kid. You just want help. This is primary children's hospital. Maybe we are being crazy. Maybe we are overreacting. He's like, just go home, come back, like go to your pediatrician and then we'll see. And the next time I came back, went to my pediatrician, sent me home too, told me it was allergies, go home. And then she calls me back the next day and says, I couldn't sleep last night. Get to the ER right now. I think something's wrong with Revi's eye. And during that whole time, I had been saying she had this bacterial infection taking over her body. And I was sent home probably 10 times from the hospital, told it was just a virus, told I was hurting her by advocating for antibiotics. So I have how many experts at this point? Probably 20. Who's like, it's pink eye, it's allergies. She just has viruses, and you really do feel small. And all to come back the next time for them to check Revi's eye for real, the way that I asked, to say, oh my gosh, she's going to lose her eye. It's not pink eye. We have to take out her eye. And, oh, your daughter also has a bacterial infection too. We just found, like, did you know? Like, yeah, I knew the whole time. Yeah, I knew something was wrong with her eye the whole time. And it wasn't a moment of like these dumb doctors. It was, how could you do that to your kid, Brittany? Like, you knew the whole time and you doubted yourself so many times. So, like, I feel like I failed her a lot and she lost like a lot of her life that, again, she took out her eye. She's completely fine now. And we got her on the right antibiotic that I had been asking for too. I knew the antibiotic that she needed. Like, that's how much I knew. And she's fine. Like, so when they're saying it's just the progression of the disease, it's kids like Revy, it's like, no, you don't care to look. You're not trying. And that was a pivotal moment for me where I was like, I will never feel like that again. I will never put Revy through that again. I don't care how many people I have to piss off. I don't care, because I finally believed in myself. It was like, I finally am willing to bet on this like feeling inside. And even if I'm wrong, who cares? Okay, well, we did the test, move to the next one. And that was like the moment for me. It was both these things I had been fighting for. And I even got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to go to the hospital anymore. And she literally just suffered at our house for like 2 months. And I still like talked to the doctors, but I wasn't fighting anymore. It was like, oh, try this antibiotic, try this medicine for her eye. And we did. And she deteriorated. She would have died right in front of us. And that's like the moment where I was like, who are you, Brittany? Like, what are you doing? Like, And that's why I'm who I am today. And that's why we're moving to Philadelphia today. Because I'm like, well, not you, then someone else. Because it's not me. I'm not wrong. Because I know I felt this before. Revy's telling me she wants to live. They think these kids are just going to die. These kids want to live, but we've got to help them,
Yeah, for sure. You're their voice.
Sorry, that was a long answer.
Well, it's what we needed. Helps me understand.
So with this, like, okay, going back to like, you kind of found your voice, that kind of stuff. So in one way, you found yourself, right? But I feel like in another way, you've probably lost a sense of who you are because this is now who you are. How has that been?
I think I'm still trying to find it. And I think it's hard because like when you are not only married to her, but I'm like stepping in these meetings and in the hospital with her too, and I see her, how confident she is, how good she is. It almost like hurts me more. Like, damn, this is like, I'll be the sidekick. And so I think the reason why Brittany has progressed so fast is because she went all in. And for me, I'm still trying to hold pieces of who I used to be because it's familiar. Like I at least know that. And I've never seen myself, I like joked around like with Brittany, but I've never seen myself as someone that was smart, someone that had like a strong, powerful voice. It was only what I could do with the ball. And so it's very scary. Like to answer Tommy's question, it's like I'm still trying to find like my space in this world. And we are moving to Philly and I still am like, damn, what am I gonna do? And Devin, like you left the 9 to 5 and you're over here like trying to be an entrepreneur. Like you're out here doing it. And I've been doing it for 5 years. I still don't have anything locked. And now we're gonna pack up and go and move to another state, really far away. And so it's like I've never been more like I've never questioned myself even more like, damn, is this what I'm supposed to do? And when you hear all these stories of these families that are going through these same hard things, it's like you want to help so much, but like how are you supposed to help someone when you're drowning yourself? And I don't know, maybe that's what Philly, like I hope it's not like one specific event that's gonna help me like change how I feel about like this is your space. I feel it sometimes in my heart, but it's nothing where I'm like, okay, I'm all in. This is it. Me and Brittany have a lot of like intimate conversations of like, hey, you deserve to be in the space. They need you here. And I still haven't like found it yet. I don't know it for myself yet.
Do you think part of that comes from culture? Like I always think of like Polynesians as like this gentle giant. Like, I don't know, I have this like really big soft spot in my heart for Polynesian culture. And because I know like there's a Polynesian group in Oakland. My dad's best friend was the stake president and there was like threats on his life. And the Polynesian branch there was like, we got you. Like somebody comes in, they're not leaving. You're leaving, they're not leaving. And it was like, but it took like this crazy thing to get them fired up. And I like, it's this gentle giant. Like they'll do anything for you. They'll be that person, but at the same time, like they'll just be quiet, sit in the back. They're just there. Like, but once you piss it off, good luck.
Yeah, I definitely think there's parts of that. I think even more so it's like respect your elders is like something very big in Polynesian culture. And so when I see these doctors, when I go and step into their place, it is like I shouldn't be doing this stuff. I should be like allow them to take care of them to use their expertise. And so I think that definitely like I'll do anything for my family, for my girls. But it is like we're usually only loud when we're on a field or a court. And this is so far outside of that I'm like, this isn't my space. And I'll be here, like you said, when things go south, I'll step in and I'll go and I'll be that but I haven't, it's like I haven't been able to like, hey, let me step out in front just like you, Brittany. And which is crazy to see because it's like Brittany has been on offense and it's like to see where Rev's life has gone because of her. You'd think that it's like, yeah, I'm all in. There's still like a lot that I need to unlearn of like what I'm worthy of, I guess. I don't know. It's a good question.
Like, what do you think that block is?
The two things that I care about, that I have the most like interest in, sports and clothing and fashion, I feel like I failed at both of those. I didn't make it to the league. That was my goal. And then I started Roy Lease and it's like fizzled out. And so now it's like if those are two things that I was very passionate about and I gave everything that I have, like who am I now to step into this medical world that I don't, like if it wasn't for Rev, I wouldn't have picked this. And so how now am I going to step into something that is like elite company? How am I going to like find my space in there? I think that that's like part of it, a big part of it.
I got to think about this.
No, I think just like any one of you, right? Like you have your life. We lived here in Rigby. We worked our whole life to have that little gym out in Rigby. And we thought we gave everything up. We gave up our college jobs. We moved into my parents' basement and like left our city or whatever and came out here. And then we had Rev and it cost every piece of you. And with your own kids, you would do that. Ellen Shia would do that in a second. But no one like it's not actually happening, if that makes sense. Like our kids are okay right now. You don't think about your kid dying every day. And with Revy, we do. Some like I was on another podcast and he asked like when Revy is like dying, because there's times I've literally was like, "Kate, this is it." Like, I've thought about this. Like, is there relief in it? And the answer is yes. Like there is relief that like she does not have to suffer anymore. Maybe I can be a mom to my kids again, my other two. Maybe I can be a wife to Fatu again. Like I could whatever. And it's like, but then you feel like you hate yourself for thinking that too. You're like, oh my gosh, it's like all in the same moment. You're like, oh my gosh, why would you even think that? That's terrible. And then I look at Rev again and I'm like, for me, when I had Revy, I was crying because I was mad that I had a kid with disabilities. And no one knew, though, just me. And I was so mad at God because I was like, no, I did the work. I'm a better mom now than I even was with my other kids. Like, I did the work. I grew. Why would you give me this baby? Like, I want to spend time with her. And now I have to go fight for this baby? Like, what? And I was crying in the bathtub. And I literally felt like this voice that was like, she's going to change the world. She's going to change something. And I didn't think it was like the world. I thought like, she's going to change me. Like, I know she's going to change me. And it was like, and it did. It changed everything about me. And there was nothing wrong with that girl before. She was fine. She was a good mom. She was a good wife. But like, who I am today is a much better person. And I live in a dining room. And I don't even know the last time we slept in a bed together. And it's normal for me not to see my kids anymore. And if someone were to have told me that 3 years ago, I would have broke. Every piece of me would have broke, and every piece of me has broke. But it's been slowly and probably more slow than Rev deserved. But that's why this is so important to us in Fatu. It's like, I don't think anyone's made for this. Like, you break into it. And I see other moms in this hospital and I talk to them, and we don't go in wanting to be disrespectful to doctors. We don't go in not trusting. It happens over time because they continue to let our kids down. And that's why I feel like I have to speak up, because Revi would speak up. Revi's going through all of these things, and I heard that she's going to change the world. Like, and I have to fulfill her purpose. It's nothing about me. It just took me a little while to get to where she needed me to be, you know? And I've had parents message me on Instagram being like, "Hey, I told the doctor no today. And I wouldn't have done it before, so thank you. Thank you for Revi. Thank you for sharing Revi." And I just hope she'd be proud of me. That's it. Like, if she passes away tomorrow, I would just hope that she would be proud of me, and I can feel that she would, you know? And that's how I feel like she feels about Fatu and all, like, both of us and our kids and our girls. And that's why we're leaving Primary Children's, is because I wouldn't be proud of myself if I kept her there and she passed away. I would be proud of myself for fighting and trying, even if she passed away on the way to Philadelphia, because I, the story is a lot deeper and there's parts that we haven't even talked about, but it's like she deserves better than what she's got there. And I would never regret trying to give her more, you know?
That's where our pursuit is trying to give her the best life, even if it's a shorter one. It's like doing Rev dignity on what we know that she deserves.
That's cool. This ties right into that. My question is, if you could tell the world one thing about Rev, what would it be? What would your message be about Rev? One thing.
Good one.
For me, Rev brings out the best version in everyone, whether it's by force or by love. And I think that it's done two very big things for us. Is one, it's shown how broken the system is, but two, it's the reason we have our strong community. Is it's like if we didn't have this community, we wouldn't be allowed or able to make these really hard decisions with the support of other people. And when Brittany says, like, these moms have reached out, these families have reached out on things that they've gone through, and they haven't been fortunate enough to have the community, the help, the strength to advocate, and in return, it's some of them have had to lose their kid. And so I think that we are so very lucky to have found out early on who Rev is, and we've broadcasted it on our social media. We've allowed Rev to be exactly who she is. And so much people have connected with that, with her story, and they've come together. All three of you guys who are here, you guys have come together for us because of her. And so that's who Rev is she will bring out the best in every single person, good or bad.
Like with doctors, I've had them come up to me after and say she's changed the way that I'll practice medicine. And I've had parents say she's changed the way that I fight for my kid. And she does. These kids, they force you to become something different. And if the medical community allowed that, like, it would be amazing. Like, these kids Revi is here to teach me. Like I always say, I get to teach Ellen Shia and like help them figure out life. And Revi teaches me. I will teach her nothing. That's what I mean, like Fatu said, she just brings the best out of people by force or by love. But either way, it's coming. And it's come for me both ways. Like, we didn't sleep for 2 years because of that girl. And I would cry at 4 a.m. and be like, why, God? Like, I understand these other fights, but really, like, sleep deprivation, like, why? Like, why this? And I also think that it was time that I got to spend with Revi that I wouldn't have, because I don't know how long I have her. And like, once I shifted that perspective, it was like my 4 a.m. hangouts with Rev. I was like, it was fun. I like played with her, and I'm so thankful for that time. I I I hope that she just shows everybody that it does not matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter even things that used to matter to us. They really don't matter. And every single one of us has the potential to do something incredible. And look at Revi, the most least likely person, someone who so many people write off. That girl is changing the world, like literally. And I hope that she can spark that in every single one of us. We have that ability to do something like that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Revi's changing the world, but I mean, you're a big part of that, right? And I think you should recognize yourself for that role you play. Going back to where you hope Revi feels proud of you. I think there's a million people that see your videos that are proud of you. It's not just Revi, it's you too. And you, Fatu. That's you got me this lump in my throat. I don't cry in public,
Yeah, you got me too early, you bunch of assholes.
but you need to give yourself some credit and some love and know that it's not possible without you as well.
And to add on to what Devin said, one thing that I was thinking about, this ties it perfect with it too, especially with you, Fatu, with what you said, with like not making it to the NFL, and then your clothing brand is in the community that we did, Devin put on. One of the practices that was big is pick the labels that you don't like about yourself, and then take those labels and burn them. And something that's powerful about that I see in you guys is, like, especially when you cry right now, Brittany, and it makes me want to cry, is that it's not, you're sad, but you can tell you're pissed. And it's actually really cool because it's the first time I've actually liked, most people cry and it's more of a sad. I can tell you're sad, but I can tell more so that you're like, it's almost like vengeance. It's like,
Yeah.
Brittany's dangerous, And I guess where I'm going with that is that you talk about Revi and her changing the world. And I think from the outside perspective, from what I know about you guys, that I'm noticing is that every child learns from who they're around, right? And look at how hard you guys fight. So why do you think Revi fights so hard? And look at their siblings and look at everything that they do. If you think about Revi's world in my head, from the videos I see and the way that I see you guys handle business, Revi's fighting because of everybody she's surrounded by. So as much as you guys might think that Revi's changing the world, and I do believe that too, I hope you guys give yourself a lot of grace for the perspective of knowing that that girl is the way that she is because of the people she's wrapped around. And that's something that's so rare. Like, you guys as parents, it's as wild as it gets. Like, holy shit, hold on. But at the same time, like, you guys should seriously be so proud of the way you're doing things. I mean, like you're saying, your daughter that can call 911. So I hope, one of the things with you guys is that, going back to burning labels, is failure and struggle and the things that you might doubt yourself for. There's so many more pros that, like I said, from me looking in, you can burn those labels because the things I see you guys doing are so much better than the negatives, because I seriously think Revi's fight is because of the fight you show. She knows that. Pretty awesome.
Saying all that. And for sure, like with our younger two, like one time with Ella, I just felt guilty, and sometimes you're like, am I fighting the right fight? Like what's happened to my other kids? Why I'm fighting so hard for this kid? I'm watching this kid suffer, my other one. And I told Ella that. I was like, I'm so sorry that I'm just not being the mom that you need. We don't know how long Revi has. And right now she's here and she's like, you got to give it everything you got. You got to go fight for her. And she's 12, And it's like the permission I didn't know that I needed. And so, like,
Compassion.
yeah. And I'm just proud of her. And so, like, the labels that you're talking about burning, like, I carry new ones with me, like, in the room. Like, the doctors will all come in, and I know they're like, freaking difficult mom, here we go. Like, everyone ready to spend an hour in the Moala room, because I'm like, hey, what is this? Did you do this? And I wasn't like that before, and that's a label I carry, is like, I'm the difficult mom. I should be a little more quiet. Like I got told, like, you can't ask these questions in round. It's like, why? Why can't I though? I'm in your hospital fighting for my child today. Why can't I ask you these? Like now I'll just say whatever. I'm like, you guys are caring more about institutional liability than you do my kid. And then they're just like sitting there. But I carry new labels with me that I don't, I am struggling with why I'm like becoming this new person, but like our kids. And when Fatu talks about me, I'm like, oh, you think you see me like that? Like you're proud of me? Because I feel like I am proud of who I am for Revy, but this is not who I would have chose like to be. Do you ever feel that way? Like life stuff that's happened to you
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can relate.
and you're just like, you had to become this person and maybe it's not like, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Well, I mean, pain obviously makes real change. You've gone through a lot, right? So I think that's a big part of it. But you guys are also mature enough people that you take those changes and you can fix them, or you've noticed that like, oh, well, that doesn't work, or, you know, you're very good at advocating, obviously. And with advocating comes change, and it's always molding. You're having these super fast conferences all of a sudden, and different doctors, different shifts, different staff, different types of seizures, I'm guessing, or like ways that she's going about it. I'm sure they're not all the same. But I mean, your guys' change and the way you're taking that change is something that a lot of people can't even do in their daily lives. And I'm totally at blame for that myself. So, I mean, it's cool to see that part. So I see what you're saying.
I think it comes like I read in a book, like it's our wounds that teach us who we are. And I've done a little bit of like inner child kind of like discovery. People call it shadow work, right? Because as you grow up, you create and live behind these labels that you've given yourself to survive. And that's what you're doing still, right? It's all trauma. Whether you feel like you had a normal childhood or not, you still had to do things to make sure you were good in the household. And I think as an adult, we hang on to those and they kind of like, they're our little compass in life. Like, how do I make sure I am not the annoying mom? How do but I think it's cool to like take that label and burn that shit because you're doing what your heart is telling you to do. Right. And I think our hearts speak more than we give them credit for. And we hide behind the label because we don't want to be that.
Yeah.
But if you're just living through who you are and what is right, that is all that matters. And it's right. You know what you're doing is right. And so I think as this progresses and goes on and you go to Philadelphia and all these things, just keep being you. Just keep doing that. And I know me even telling you this, I wouldn't expect anything else either. Like I wouldn't expect you to go to Philadelphia and you just all of a sudden change your mind. Like, okay, I'm not going to be this person anymore. But hopefully that gives like some peace and comfort to know that like we see you, everybody sees you. You've created a massive impact on social media, which in this day and age, I feel like can either build people up or tear them down. But you've done something good from such a hard wound, right? You could have just carried the wound and let it shape you quietly. But here you are doing what you're doing. And then with Fatu's, right? I as Tyler was speaking, to me, it's like, okay, yeah, you didn't make it to the NFL. Your one brand didn't work. That's just two things. I mean, how many other things are you? Like you're a lot more than that.
Yeah, burn those labels, dude.
Yep. And then it comes down to like those things probably didn't happen for a reason because you got something else to do, my man. Like change the world. You're not going to change the world as an NFL player. Might have like rooted against you because you weren't on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's about it. I think there's some stuff that's coming out of you, dude, that as this goes on too. And I think you probably already know, even if you've accepted it or not.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I've felt it before and I've tried to dabble in a few things, but it is like that accepting part. And so, yeah, we are going to go to Philly and we are going to go and get Rev the help and advocate, but I still just don't feel like adequate, like in this space, talking with the doctors, especially with going out there to Philly. It's like, I heard it's amazing. I heard the hospital is like the best. And so now it's even more so like, damn, I'm not going to say anything. I had trouble like I had to work up to where I'm at here in primaries, and then now stepping into, in my opinion, like the big leagues now. And it's like, what, like who are you? Peeling away those labels, it's like I'm still trying to hold on to them because, again, that's what I'm familiar with. That's what I know. So I understand what you're saying, and I do feel it, but it's really hard for me to accept it, which is just, I mean, like everything else takes time.
Maybe it's not even, I mean, Brittany's taking this role of, right, like this loud, you know, like, I don't think you have to match that. Like, to your core, there are going to be people that, I mean, even going back to like the Bible, right? Like, I'm not even religious, but you got like Moses and his brother Aaron, right? Like Moses is this silent, like he does this stuff, but his Aaron speaks for him. Am I right?
I love how you say you're not religious, but you know more
I
about the
was
Bible and the
just gonna
scriptures
say that.
than I like.
I've done
Anyways,
some study.
I know you have, and that's what's funny to me. Like you always bust out these like.
I was like, who's
No.
Aaron? That's really what I was thinking.
No, but I think I mean, everyone plays their role, and like your role may not be loud, but it's supportive and it's guiding, and it's also being able to go into the room with your wife and let those people know, like, y'all better respect her, you know, because you're scary looking.
Well, so we had a meeting with the president, and we thought that they were like wanting to collaborate, like the way that they positioned it. They were like, we are going to make something different because of what happened to Revy. And
It was a home run.
we were like,
We had the first
did it.
meeting, and then we're like, shoot. So I went home. I like drafted this stuff up. I'm like, why wouldn't they? They'd be dumb to not take this. Like my confidence was through the roof. It was almost like, okay, cool. Like I'm stepping into this thing now. Like it's good. And then that dude reminded me that it's like, never mind, maybe not.
You still live in the dining room.
We know where you.
Yeah.
And we even talked about this too. Is like, because some people were saying like, oh yeah, like it's I think they're gonna settle. And someone said it comes with you're not gonna be able to speak about it. And Brittany's like, never. I'll never not speak about it. I'm
Never.
like, Brittany, what if they wrote a check for $5 million? She's like, I'll rip it up. I'm like, we live in a dining room. Are you sure? And obviously that didn't happen because this dude's like, no. And so it is.
We did not ask to settle.
No.
Ask for any
No,
of
we were
that.
definitely not.
No.
No. Yeah, I don't want to. We were not trying to settle. We were trying to work with them. And like the things that we've seen and experienced, we don't want to leave. This is home to us. This is where our kids are, and we're potentially going to have to split. Like it is so hard to make this decision, even though we're like all in and it's like going to happen here pretty soon. But we did not want to leave, and we wanted to collaborate with them to help what is like where our daughter has been wronged in this system. And so it was hard to get the answer or like the attitude back towards what we were trying to do. It was almost like, yeah, no, like just sue us.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Well, because we think like parents deserve advocates that are not connected to the hospital. Like every time they send me a freaking advocate, I'm like, oh my gosh.
They will
like,
advocate only enough.
Which I love also some of them.
Yeah, no, they've been great. But it's like when
Sherry,
you're
sorry.
advocating against your employer,
Yeah.
it's like, how much can you actually advocate? And so that's what we were pitching to them is it's a third party. It has to be an unbiased opinion where the family is represented, because these are things that we've seen the hard way on like what is wrong. If Rev is so far off the charts of like typical, and they're still till this day 3 years later giving us kickback on everything, like imagine what the next kid looks like that doesn't present as much like off the charts. Imagine what that parent is going to have to like fight against, or someone that maybe doesn't have the courage yet, that hasn't found their voice yet, that doesn't have the community to back them to have the courage to step up and say, hey, this is wrong for my kid. And that's why we are trying to step into this place, because of it's like it doesn't look good for a medically complex family to advocate for their child. So like stepping into that is scary because we're not sure how many people have even tried it or done it. Do you think?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't even think we said what you did, like what you even at. Like, yeah, you just started. You
No, because I'm
over.
embarrassed of what I did. It's like when we stepped into the second meeting, I had like sweat shorts and I had a t-shirt and it's like looking like a bum. I'm like, here's my plan. that ChatGPT put together.
Helped
took
you
out-
put together.
I went and read through it. I'm like, I think I'll do like so instead. So I like put together this plan, and I had 4 big asks. One was brain surgery. The second one was I wanted Maya's poster to not be hidden. I asked for them to put it up in front and to take ownership of what had happened, to like commit to this is what we're, because when we had Maya's rule called for us, one of the doctors didn't even know what it was. And so we're like, you guys have a poster, and this person that's supposed to be our caregiver doesn't even know what Maya's rule is. And so I'm like, obviously something is not working. And so if you guys have been in primary children's, you'll see it's a small wall that's facing the back. It's like the people who win the award have a bigger wall that's facing forward than the actual person whose award it is. And so that was my second ask was we want her legacy because she saved our daughter's life. It's like we want her to be up front.
Real quick, can you just give us like a 10,000-foot view? We know, but for the people that don't, what's Maya's rule?
So Maya passed away in 2011. There's not much on her anywhere because I think they signed an NDA actually. So she passed away. She went into the ER. I think that you know. Right?
Yeah, she had like a bowel obstruction, and they were pumping her with something, and a lot of staff members was concerned, but the hierarchy doesn't allow people below like the doctors to speak up. Like that's kind of the culture. And so no, either they tried to speak up or they were too afraid to speak up, and she ended up passing away from a bowel obstruction, something that she never should have passed away from. It was whatever they were pumping inside of her. Like it was like too much electrolytes or something. And she ended up passing away. And afterwards they realized like this was totally preventable. And I believe multiple people did speak up, but whoever was in the hierarchy was like, nope, we're doing it this way. So now it's encouraged across all primary children's, like anyone at any level, janitor, nurse, can speak up for somebody who is not being safe, like who's not safe. And a nurse did that for Revi. They invoked Maya's rule.
So we were in Logan. I jumped in the ER or in the ambulance, and they transported us to primary children's. And so it's just me in the ER with Rev while Brittany's driving, and the nurse, 2 doctors step in and like, hey, in your own words, can you tell us why you guys are here? So I told them, hey, our plan is not working. Every time you guys are sending us home, we're having to bag. It's life-threatening, and then we go back to Logan, and then we're getting shipped here. And so the nurse said, I don't feel safe with the plan that these guys have, and so I'm going to evoke Maya's rule. And both of the doctors like look at each other like scared, and they're like, yeah, we think so too. Great call. And it was like, the heck was that? Like it seemed like a little weird, almost like, why did you call that? And so they said yes. So they all leave. The nurse comes in and she's like, I'm going to fight for you guys. Like, this is not good. Like, we need to take care of Rev. And then a couple minutes later, another lady comes in and she's like, okay, you ready? She's like, yep. So then they both leave the room. And I don't know if it's like they have to document it or what, but it's like the vibe just seemed like a little weird. So for me, Maya's rule is almost like a secret. Like no one knows about it. And the only reason we do is because someone used it for us in our favor, and it saved Rev's life. So what Maya's rule is supposed to be is it's like when there's an unsafe situation, you call Maya's rule, and then everyone's supposed to take a step back and reassess. Like, okay, there's something that's not working. Let's reassess. That's as far as it goes, though. So one of our asks was to move Maya's poster up front, so it shouldn't be a secret. And then we asked for us to have a Revi's rule, which would be almost like hand in hand with what Maya's is it's not a secret. And every parent should know that they can use it. And instead of when Revi's rule is called, it's like they get an advocate to step in. And on the parent's behalf is, let's say if it was me and Brittany, and there's a family that calls Revi's rule, we get to step in and say, okay, we get to assess now. What are the doctors not hearing? And then now we're the ones to help them advocate. Because again, when a parent steps in the medical world, they should feel relief. And it's not the case, especially for special needs. It's almost like, okay, I got to say the right thing. I got to know what this means. I need to know who to talk to. Like Brittany, again, has 3 years of practice where she's found these things out. People have reached out to her and it's like, hey, do this, try this. Why is it a secret for these kids to get adequate help? Like, that's what Revi's rule is supposed to be. And then obviously the last, again, in sweat shorts, I asked for $3 million a year for our advocacy program, which would be for them to invest in our program and for us to go in and fix their systems, take care of their families, and help their doctors bridge that gap between the care providers and the family. And some people reached out and they're like, yeah, bad idea. They're thinking that you're going to want to live off of that. And it's like, when you have a team that's trying to come in and fix a system, it is a lot of money. And for us to go and hire all of these people again to take care of their families and help fix their system is, maybe I was a little too fast on asking that stuff, but I think
We had our shot. We were
Right.
across from the president. I was like, let's ask for 5. Maybe they'll settle for 1, and then we can start this agency. But like, now that we think about it, we just laugh at ourselves. We're like, why would
For
they
sure.
do that? Why would they allow like people to infiltrate their system when they have like,
and they're the ones
They-
paying them to come and say everything that they're doing wrong.
yeah, they investigate themselves. And that's like the worst part about this whole thing is it's a good boys club. They investigate themselves. They have their own. They're not going to allow people to infiltrate their system who genuinely can hold people accountable, because the people they're going to be holding accountable is them. Like, they don't want that, you know? And even if you sue, like when he said, he's like, nah, you could just sue us, you know? Like, okay, well, we actually tried, but the reason you can't is Utah has one of the lowest. So I don't know about Idaho, but Utah has one of the lowest non-fatal like caps. So you can only sue a hospital like Revi's eye, right? I have emails from doctors saying, sorry, they missed it. I have MRI reports that were read wrong.
She has a
Slam.
kid that's missing an eye.
Slam dunk. They sent us home. They said it was pink eye for 2 months. Like, what, you know? And we go, and basically it's like, if you win, you get $450,000, but these lawyers are going to spend, 2 to 5 years fighting your case.
And they'll get 40% of the earnings.
And-
so it's like not even 200,000.
Yeah, like they're not going to get you the 450. They're going to settle in between. And typically for Utah, the settlement for a non-fatal is $15,000 to $75,000. So what's the lawyer making $5,000? You know, like for 5 years worth of work. And so they just flat out say like it's not financially incentive. Like, unless your kid dies, and they'll always say, well, call us back. Like, God forbid, but if something happens, call me back. I'm like, cool.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, if she dies though, like, you know, and so I called them for the trach thing, seizure thing, all this. Clearly, there's things that are wrong. We were sent home for 7 months with a bag to save our kid's life. And suddenly, once they got it, the responsibility flipped, now we're like, brain surgery tomorrow, get a trach. And it's like, yeah, because liability has shifted. But they were basically like, well, if something happens with the trach and she dies, call us. Like, you know, it's just a lose-lose. Like, you can't sue. You can't fix anything.
And even
with
then,
them.
like for us, like the process of doing that, it was not like, damn, we're about to be good for the rest of our life off of Rev's back. It is more so like, if we can't tell these doctors, if they're like, it's like, where else are you going to hurt them? It would have to be like through their pockets, and you can't even do that. So it's like, if all you're doing is you're policing yourselves and you're not even afraid to get sued, like then why would you change for some peons that come and were like, hey, our daughter deserves this? If they've been doing this forever, why would they switch that? Why would they change and make accommodations for someone who is, on paper, their kid doesn't have a long life expectancy, and then you're going to have to do, which requires extra work without a promise of a longer lifespan? Why would they do that? It's hard because Brittany's even like filed complaints and done these things, and then they come back and they're like, yeah, we investigated ourselves. Checks out that like we did everything right. Of course you did.
Like a letter in the mail that you wait 3 months to get because they're doing their investigation. And it was a miscommunication. It's always a miscommunication. And it's like, no, it was not a miscommunication. My kid lost her eye. Like, what are you talking about? You know, so it's a waste of time to do anything. that way. And I think what me and Fatu want is we want to make real change. And so when the president was like, you could just sue us, like, to me, it's like, yeah, you can withstand a lawsuit. You don't care, but you can't withstand truth. And that's what Revi's story is truth. Like, if anyone takes the time to go through my Instagram and we piece every piece together, it's so obvious what has happened to Revi in so many different situations. But no news outlet will pick it up because they're all in like bed with IHC. That's where a lot of their money comes from. And so they're not going to report on this. Who's speaking up for these kids? Parents who are so tired, who live in a dining room and lost everything. The only reason that me and Fatu have even withstood since December is because you guys gave us $60,000. It's like your community allowed us to fight back. If not, I don't even know where we'd be. My kids wouldn't have been able to be in dance. Our car got repossessed. It was so embarrassing. But like, I had all Rev's medical stuff in the car when they repossessed it from me. And yeah, I was just like making it like, oh, can you hand me her eye that fell out? And oh, can you give me her syringes? It's okay. Don't worry. Take the car. Like, and it's fine. Like, they needed to take it. Like, but it's just embarrassing because you're like, I didn't see my life here. I literally bought that car like a year ago when we were doing good or whatever. And these people like us, we're just surviving. And so thank you for giving us this opportunity. It feels like this is not just about Revi. It's never been just about Revi. This is about everyone who even put $1 towards us or one comment towards us or prayed for us once, because this is for all of our kids.
It's so much bigger than Rev. And because of the community, it's almost like the lady that gave the $1. It's almost like those are more like, damn, you got nothing and you're giving us that. It means more. So it's like for those situations to not go in vain, it's like, yeah, we got to do it. And it's, yeah, like we'll do anything for Ella, for Cheyenne, for Rev. But it's like the game just got a lot bigger. There's so much people that are hurting, that do believe in us, that have supported us. And so, like it's sad to say that it doesn't look like it's going to be fixed anytime soon. But we want to step in, and before it gets to the point where the family's like, nah, we're going to try to sue, for them to come and find out that it's like, damn, we can't do anything. We would rather step in while it's happening to say like, hey, let's help you get the help that your kid deserves.
Yeah, I think that sucks that they're like, yeah, just sue us. It's like, I don't want to sue you. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah.
Give me $20 million. Like, I want my kid
Right.
to be living. Like, this does not matter. Money doesn't matter. It's a life. You can't put a price on Rev's life. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Any kid, any adult, anything like that. Like, especially somebody that young, that little, who hasn't experienced, hasn't done stuff. It's like, you sons of bitches sitting here telling me to sue you. Kiss my ass. I'm like, save my daughter and let her live. Like, that pisses me off. My blood's getting boiling, Devin.
You're invited to the next care conference.
You're headed to Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're going.
They're like, who are these guys? Like, don't worry about it.
We got
You're
a statue of
invited.
Revi
I'm
putting it in
Revi.
front of this hospital.
We start doing that shit, I'm going to start injecting Trent. I'm going to be big yoked.
Oh,
That's the kind of attitude
security. We're all going to Philly.
Right. But no, we
No.
need you here. We need you to like end it here with primaries.
You know, I get where like movies come from about parents like kidnapping a doctor and being like, give my kid the life that they deserve.
For real, John
And it's
Q.
like,
John
you're like,
Q.
yeah, it's like, holy crap, this is it, dude.
Really. I know. No, it is crazy. But it's just so crazy too. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, there's so many people in my room, 10 doctors, just me and Revi. And they're all like, I say something so obvious. Hey, we had a plan going home. I had IV rescue meds. Why the very next day did you guys switch and say immediate trach surgery, 30-day this, no rescue meds, when nothing clinically changed with Revi? Revi's the same. What changed? What changed? And then the gaslighting begins. And there's 10 different people. And it's like, my shirt is black. And they're like, no, it's pink. It's pink. It's pink. And you're like, no, but it's really black. I swear, like this happened. No, that's what you thought. Miscommunication. It's actually pink. Like, and you really feel crazy. You really do. And then they leave the room and you kind of like, you're like, okay, is it pink? Like, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. They leave the room and then you regain, like, you're like, no, my shirt is black. Like, sorry, that's a weird analogy. People are not watching this if they're not. I'm wearing a black shirt. But like that's how crazy they make you sound or like feel and believe. And if the parent is not perfect at all times, it's used against them. Like, well, like us, our eye case, right? Like after he like literally held Rev down, was like, nothing's wrong. He came back finally. He's like, fine, if you want a CT exam, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. And we were like, no, I don't freaking want you to do it. Like that's how I felt. It's like he's going to do it. He just did an ultrasound and said nothing. He didn't even care to look. I don't want this guy to do a CT now and we're screwed. And then our lawyer, like when we did go to try to like make them accountable, something, he was like, oh yeah, you guys refused to CT exam. It's like, that's not even what actually happened. It was 4 hours of being gaslighted and told that we were crazy. Like that didn't happen, but it's like, it's not what's reflected on the chart. And right now what they want to do with this trach is we offered care, mom refused. It is not about Revy. It is not about what she actually needs. And if it was, then 6 days later, now the trach is not mandatory anymore because we got ethics involved, because I exposed actually why you're really doing this. And they are not going to actually write down on her medical chart, this child needs a trach, because it's not true. She doesn't. It's so it can cover their butts for what they did for 7 months because it's finally shifted to them. It was fine to send a mom home with an ambu bag and a finger crossed. But now that they gave me real tools, rescue meds and IV to actually save my daughter, they're like, shoot, liability on us. Why didn't we act 7 months earlier? She needs this fake surgery so mom can decline it. And we can say, we've been asking for it. We've been telling her about it. And so we care. And if she gets it, cool, liability off us. It's the trach. So if she dies, like we did something. And it's like, you guys are sick, and that's why I refuse to stay in that hospital because who does that?
Because we talked about it too. Like, Brittany asked, what if we go to Philly and they say the exact same thing? What if they say that Rev needs a trach? I'm like, we'll get the trach then. How many times is someone going to show us who they are and we're still like talking our way through like, damn, no, maybe not this. And so like Rev lost an eye. She's gotten pseudomonas and then all of these seizures where they never changed the plan. And then so right now, it's like, why would we think the fourth one is like, okay, they're telling the truth now or they're doing everything they can. It's like they've shown us who they are and who Rev is to them for the last 3 years. It's like Brittany talked about this a little earlier. It's like if Rev passed away here, we would not be able to live with that. But if Rev passed while we were trying to go out there to Philly, it's like we could at least say like we did everything that we can. We tried as hard as we could and we didn't trust that it was here. Some hard conversations that we hope no family has to have.
So like looking forward, being positive, what's the rebuild look like?
I've been planning this, plotting it. No, what I really want to do is go to CHOP and have them review what actually happened to Revy. 18 readmissions, no meaningful change. Like what? And I want their news outlet. I'm gonna freaking message everyone in the world who has any like media. I'm
finding Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, whoever that is.
Cut.
No, but like really, I'm gonna, and they're gonna be able to do this without a trach because she doesn't need a trach. That's the truth. She does not. And we're gonna do it without. She's gonna get brain surgery, and I'm gonna come back and be like, this was not a medical limitation. This was them. Like I'm gonna expose everything. I'm using ChatGPT. I'll become a lawyer in a year just with him. Like help me expose this case. But really, like I want to come back, show that this is possible for families to be able to say no and stand up to a system that makes you feel like you're nothing and you're asking too much for someone to try to help your kid, and make a law, change a law, and start our Revy's Rule, our agency, where we have trained advocates, where we're freaking lawyers, but not really. But that's how, like, we know the medical system like nobody else, better than these doctors. And we actually are going to listen to the parent, see the kid's case, review it, show up to the care conference, show up in the ER when they're saying it's just pink eye, and be like, okay, please document that the parents requested this and why you've refused. And then that just makes the doctors think twice. That's all we need. Is we need a doctor to think twice before the kid has to lose an eye, before they're actually dead, and then the lawyer will take the case. I want to be the people that come before and make the doctors nervous in the sense of like, oh, shoot, I actually have to care or give. Why can't you just give the test, And so.
Even if they
That's what I wanna
even if
do.
they don't care, it's like, so when we were stuck in Lehigh, we were having some problems, and we had 2 friends come and represent us that weren't lawyers, but they came dressed up, they had heels on, and they were, like, walking in like they owned the place, and everyone is like, "Shoot."
Yep.
It's like they were on their best behavior, and they were really like, "Okay, okay, like, we'll listen to you guys." And it's so crazy to think, because when parents go in there, not like you, they look like me, that it's like, "Damn, I'm just out here surviving." Like, I woke up like this, I'm here, like, with my kid, and so they don't take us serious. And then when someone comes who's dressed up that looks qualified, they're like, "Oh, shoot." And so at the very least, we wanna step in dressed up to represent these people, not necessarily for us to, like, it's almost like to scare the doctors to say, like, "Hey, you have to give the best care because these guys are being represented. They have people that will hold you accountable." And so, obviously, hopefully, it's a lot more legit than that, like us just showing up with the shirt and tie. But at the very least, it's like that's what we wanna provide is exactly who Courtney and Natalie were for us, like, at a very vulnerable time before Brittany had found her voice fully, is like, they bailed us out on that.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty cool concept because if I think about like my background in construction, blue collar, you probably know the same thing. Is we call them a tailboard every day. Essentially, what it is you go down the road of what your task is for the day. You talk about your PPE, or protective equipment, all of the hazards that are with the job, and within that, everything after you go through all of it, you talk about you know the task and how you're going to do it, and then every single time we teach all of our guys that within that tailboard, everybody has the right to say stop at any moment. At any moment, everybody has it doesn't matter if you're the guy operating, it doesn't matter if you're the guy helping. Everybody has that stopping power. It doesn't matter who you are. If you walk on site and you're just a bystander and you're on site, you can say stop. And everybody stop. Just kind of like it reminds me so much of Maya's rule. And I think that's cool what you guys are doing because I think about that now in the medical world, and I'm just trying to put myself in your position. And like my son Ozzy's gone through like minuscule things lately, and I've had questions. And I've never really thought about the perspective of walking in there, and when they say something, I'm not the professional, right? So I always am just like, yo, that's what he needs.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Let's do what you said. Instead of taking the outlook like I do at work with everything to keep everybody safe and make sure everybody goes home, and being like, stop, help me understand what is this. And you're right. Your guys is, what you want to do with your agency is a cool idea because I don't think that way when I walk into a hospital, the way I walk into a construction site. So the way you're thinking about it that's really cool to me because there's a lot of other parts of my life that I can relate that I'm like, yeah, I'd be like, fuck you, stop. I'm not gonna let you do that. But then I walk into a hospital and I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, these doctors do have this godlike mentality and it's intimidating. But now I just want to fight everybody.
It's probably hard because you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
Right.
right? You had no idea this was
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
your life in 2 years.
No.
Yeah.
You had no idea that Revy was going to be this child that was hard. And so, yeah, you just go in and have to figure this stuff out the hard way. And it sounds like what you're trying to do is for the people that are coming, because there's going to be more. You're trying to be that piece that they don't have to go through what you're going through.
We want them to be parents, not to be lawyers or doctors. And it is hard because that's what we've had to go through. But it's like you shouldn't get all this information and then hold it for yourself. It's like if I know that there's a pothole and because I rolled my ankle in it, I'm not gonna be quiet. I'm like, yeah, I hope they'll be all right. And then you see the next one roll, roll, roll. And so it's like, shouldn't we be the ones to go and fill that? Or at least to say, hey, look, avoid here. And so that's why, like, I like to think that I'm a religious man, but I don't recite any scriptures because I don't know any of them. And so I just speak on like what I know from the heart, from personal experience. And I think it's the same thing with this medical world. I'm so scared. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I do know what care looks like. And I think that's a very universal language of like doing something because you have to and doing something because you care for that person are two very different things. And unfortunately for Rev, we've had the second part a lot. And not to take that away from any of the nurses and the great people that we've had, but it's still too many people for us to go and get Rev the help and then be like, okay, cool, let's step away from this place.
Something that comes to my mind is we had in the known group, we wrote a letter to little me. And in that, and I've talked about this before, but in that letter I wrote that follow your heart because your mind's going to ultimately lead you astray at a point in time. And I think about this with doctors. And I'm like, how do you sit here and look at Revy and be like, yeah, this is it. And your heart doesn't tell you, or the spirit or Allah or whatever doesn't say to you, this isn't right. Like, that's not what this girl needs. Who the hell are you to tell these parents that this is what she needs when you know damn well that that's not? Like, that to me, I don't know how you go home at night. I'd be like, honey, I had this little girl in the hospital today, and she had a seizure for 45 minutes on her family's floor. And then she came to the hospital, and then we just told the parents to take her home again, damn well knowing that she's probably going to do it again and that she could die. And it's like, who are these people? Like, how do you live with yourself?
Arrogant people.
I guess.
I mean, I don't even know either. And like they always say, and it's so hard. Like I'm probably the worst person to ask, like, because I've just seen too much. I know too much. But like they'll always say, every single one of us wants what's best for Revy. Every single one of us, Brittany, like after I lay out all this thing, why didn't you help her for 18 times? And I screamed and I cried and I yelled and I did research and I advocated and I turned my entire hospital room into a classroom. I hung up posters. I did everything. I called everybody, patient relations. I got legislature involved. I put it all over Instagram. I went to your boss, the other boss, whatever. Why? Well, we all really want what's best for Revy. No, you didn't bag your kid at home with your 12-year-old and like be mad at your 12-year-old because she couldn't get the pulse socks on because you thought your kid was going to die, but then you didn't want to be mad at your 12-year-old, even though you really are inside because you don't want her to think, she's the reason her sister died. It's like, I don't know who these people are, but they are in these hospitals and I don't know if they're walking around thinking, well, it's lucky she's even alive. This mom's just delusional. But it's like, how many times has Revy proved you wrong? Like, she's not lucky to be alive. She wants to be alive. And I have been that mom that didn't turn the room into a classroom or whatever. But it's like, I don't know how, like, do you guys have ideas? Like, how do we get these people?
I think it's just missing the personal side of it is you guys, I don't think that you guys are too well-rounded in the medical world either. But you guys all know who Rev is, and you know that the trache's not good for her because you guys know that she loves to take baths. She loves to be in the pool. You don't need to have a degree to know that. You guys know her. And these guys with all of that power, they haven't stepped in Rev's room. They don't see her because when you say, man, I see this girl and I'm still going to make these, it's like, but they don't see her. They've never seen her. And that, I think, to me is scary. That it's like, how could you, it's almost like they do it intentionally so that when they make these calls that are protocol in a business standpoint, it's like the best call in a business standpoint. And they're in the toughest, most serious, most personal business. And so in order for you to make the smartest business decision, it's to remove yourself from like that emotion. And it's hard because, like you said, I think any decent human being sees what's wrong with that. But when you step into it and it's like, hey, your job, Tommy, is to take care of your family. It's like, then you'll do whatever it is to take care of your family. And I think that they get so blinded or blurred by like this job, this 9 to 5, that they start to justify.
And the thing is like, we're not like asking for miracles. We're not like, heal Revy, make her walk and talk. It's like, I'm literally asking you for the bare minimum, like care. Like, don't send us home with a bag again and my 10-year-old scared, care. And the only time that they cared is when Maya's rule was invoked and their back was against the wall and they were like, shoot, it looks worse now if we do nothing versus if we do something this time. We've got to do something. And like, I'm so thankful for that doctor that gave me the tools that I actually need, which is IV meds to get Revy out of those 40-minute seizures, 17-minute seizures that we ran out of meds, you know? But that was the wrong move for them because it's like, shoot, like liability back on us. But I'm so thankful for that doctor. So there are some doctors, right, that is like sees the emergency and maybe that wasn't the right call. Maybe it's like Revy just literally needs brain surgery. Why are we trying to save her life better? Like, let's go try to save her life. I want parents to know that they're not asking for miracles for people to asking for someone to care. Like her neurosurgeon came in and he's actually really cool. He's really great. And he came in and he was like, how's she doing? I'm like, oh, she hasn't seized for 24 hours. And he's like, that means nothing. He's like, and? I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. I'm used to people being like, she's not, it's been 3 hours. You can go home, you know? And I was like, oh. And then I was talking to him a little bit later and I'm like, I know I can't ask her to be seizure free, but I just want like, even if we just had to do this once a week, you know? And he's like, why can't you ask for her to be seizure free? It's like, that is a foreign concept to me with Revy, like, because nobody makes it seem like I can ask for that. And I know there's parents sitting there in this hospital right now thinking like they said that, you know, this is what happens to kids like this.
How many, for everybody listening, did you say since December it was like
80?
80 life-threatening seizures that Revy's lived through and at least 50 on our living room floor.
That was before.
Gosh.
That was before this admission that she's had a
But
lot. Like she's on so many meds. She
So-
she has the VNS. She's got keto, and it's not like they're still breaking through.
Because that's the crazy thing that I don't think a lot of people see unless they follow you. Because you put your stories on and I'm like locked in. If you, Devin, you need to talk to her about the hook on TikTok. Britt's got the hook. She knows how the hook is.
So I'm like, damn, Devin, what are you?
I was like, Devin. So you
But when
I
you
hooked
throw up
some
your
people.
stories, like you have a very good way of narrating the story. And, you know, for people listening, it's not like this has only happened a few times. 80 times. It's wild.
crazy.
And it's sad to say, like, for other families too. Like, Brittany reached out on her stories and asked families if they were willing to tell a little bit about their story and to share a picture of their kid. And I read every single one of those emails, and more than half of them are like their kid's not here anymore. And so we're very fortunate that we're in this situation, but at the same time too, it's like there's a problem. There's a real problem that is being minimized.
Like all of those parents, like with these photos of their kids that have passed, every single one of them has a story. You know, it's like, this happened to my kid. I asked for help and I didn't get it. And even after all of this, if Rev goes through and gets brain surgery and she's still seizing, at least we said we tried. We turned over every stone and I would give her the best quality of life, whatever that looked like moving forward. But why do we count these kids out before we even try? They don't even let these kids try. And every time I have literally fought for Revy to have a chance, and it's months of fighting, she wins. They're like, oh, actually, that infection was cured. That's not just how she breathes. She doesn't just have to have mucus, you know, filling up her lungs. Weird. That's weird to like. It's wild to me that these kids don't even get the opportunity to try. And I don't really actually know the answer. I used to think like, why does this always happen to us? Like, is it me, the way that I advocate? But I'm like, no, I've been quiet before. I've said nothing before. And all the story, you know, is it just because they really are complex and they're just, I don't know.
Because when we were in the meeting with Dustin, he said,
It's the president.
Dustin, the president. He's like, yeah, that's her disease. We're like, I think that we're proof that it's not her disease because she's still alive. Like if Rev's not alive because of their plan, it's because Brittany's really good at what she does. And so is Ella and Shia. It's because we've worked really hard to keep her alive. And so it's not that her disease, because if it were her disease, she would be gone no matter how much we would give to her. But I think that that's proof. And so I think that's what's hard is when it's the president and that's what you think. It's not good messages that are being sent down.
And the other part of it too is it's not like Revy, it's like it would be a chore every day to keep her alive. If she had the right tools and the right care, she could thrive. Who would Revy be if she didn't have 6 months of a retina detached and a hemorrhage in the back of her eye that she didn't look like she was in pain. So, or who would she be if she didn't have a bacterial infection taking over her entire body for 7 months? Who would Revy be? She lost all those months of her life. Who would she be if she didn't have to have 80 life-threatening seizures for someone to be like, okay, we'll do something? Because I literally said, when we leave the hospital, I'm like, okay, so how many more times does she have to stop breathing before you guys will do the next thing? Like, is it 5 more times, 3? Like, it's not even like help. How many more crises do I have to go through till you believe me for the next step? Just step. It's just crazy. I just get pissed.
Well,
It's John Q. Like, hey, they're literally going to come for me now. It's call CPS on me. I'm not going to do it.
We fight the president?
We're literally going to,
I hope the president listens to this shit.
we're talking about Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. Trump, get this guy.
If you guys are listening to this and you go look up Devin Hess on Instagram, follow some of the crazy stuff he's doing. It's just Tyler Bergen right on Instagram.
Yeah.
Then mine is Sasha_Tommy. And then you'll find us here and watch the journey as it unfolds, because it'll be a wild ride.
It's going to be.
If I know
this
the
is just
three
the
of us,
beginning.
it's going to be a wild ride.
It's going to be fun.
This is the coolest part. It's just the beginning. We're just in a basement.